There are three major file types in graphic design for Photoshop. Let's cover them. We'll use this as a reference point, just for an example. The first one is a PSD, Photoshop native file. So file save as, we can save as Photoshop. So if I ever say PSD, I mean Photoshop. What's nice about Photoshop, it allows you to save layers and alpha channels along with everything else. So when I open this, it'll be exactly the way it was. Channels, layers, everything. Now, the second file type is universal. So I can go save as and save it as a TIFF. TIFF also allows me to save alpha channels and layers. The difference here is if I save a TIFF, I can open that up in whatever variation of Photoshop I have. I can open it up in CS2, CS5, CS4, CS1, whatever. It's very universal. TIFF's been a long time. It's been on the market forever. So a lot of programs use TIFF. If something does not open as a Photoshop document inside a program, it'll probably open as a TIFF. Let's go to the third type. The third type is not very good at printing, but we use it for presentation on the internet. So file, save for web devices. This is the JPEG, okay? So JPEG is a very nice presentation tool, but not a good print tool. Just know that you have to drop it down to JPEG. Also know that there's a couple variations of JPEG on a Mac. There's JPEG here as a web variation, and there's JPEG as a file type that has some problems. So always use the JPEG here. There's a third one called JPEG 2000. It's been obsolete for a while. So we were using only JPEG. I have to back the truck up and say, hey, there's a fourth one that's really important. And I like this format. It's a very up and coming format. I see it a lot more. Save as, it's called PNG. PNG. It'll save your transparency. Okay, so let me illustrate what that is. So file new. Let's go web 640 by 480. I'm going to double click the background and hit OK. Delete it by making a new layer and getting rid of this one. This is your transparency area. So here I'm going to just go like this a few times. And I'm just going to go File, Save As, Ping. And I'll save this under notepads, sure. I want none interlaced. Okay, now to see this, I'm just going to close this out and don't save it. And I'm going to reopen it in another application or another document. So I'm just going to go File, Open. Here's my ping. It looks white, but really it saved its transparency. And now I can use it in any other document by right-clicking, duplicate layer, and duplicating it into any of the other documents, like Untitled 5, for example. You notice now if I click and drag it around, it's still transparent. So ping is a lossless format, meaning it doesn't get compressed, it doesn't lose any quality, and it has its transparency. It's like a win-win-win document. So that's the fourth one. Now with all four, you'll have a variation of tools at your disposal, and where you got to learn a PDF, but that's later on down the road. So enjoy. On to the next video.